Once upon a time, a synthesizer began his day already in debt to the Sandman, having only borrowed 5 hours of sleep. He entered the kingdom of his work, a place where the clocks were merciless and the needs of the people were a relentless tide. A deep and weary need stirred in him, not for treasure, but for simple quiet, for a moment when the world was not demanding a piece of his soul. To find it, he had to cross into the day's chaos, a journey that took him to the very edge of his endurance. The road of trials was not of dragons, but of 1,000 paper cuts to the spirit. He navigated arguments with the palace guard and stood in a chamber where a soul had departed, a room so broken that it was weeping water onto the floor, soaking his own shoes in its sorrow. The world felt like a great grinding machine, and his own body began to protest, his back screaming with a pain that demanded tribute. He felt his anger rising, a hot and honest fire against the cold dysfunction of it all. But even in the smoke, he began to search for his tools. He found one in his pocket, a small seeing stone that could capture his voice, a tiny act of creation that felt like a shield. He found another in the words of a trusted sage, which helped him see the truth. And what he found was a key. He realized the quiet he felt when his queen was away was not a betrayal, but the sound of his own spirit breathing again after being held under water. He saw that his desire to make everything perfect was a superpower the machine was using to consume him. The greatest treasure he found was this: the machine could not be fixed, but he could build a raft. The price of this knowledge was the profound exhaustion that settled deep in his bones, the ache of seeing the world as it was. But he took the key of this new understanding and used it. He returned not directly to his keep, but to a small, quiet lake as the sun began to fade. It was cold, and he was tired, but this was a necessary magic. He swam. For 30 minutes the water washed away the grime of the day, and in the chill he felt a flicker of his own strength returning. He arrived home late, a weary traveler, to the warm, welcoming smell of food he had cleverly set to bake before his journey. A change had taken place. The man who left that morning was a cog in a machine, feeling guilty for wanting rest. The man who returned was an architect, who understood that rest was not a luxury, but the very foundation upon which he would build his escape. He had faced the flood and found the quiet lake, and now he knew, with a certainty that warmed him more than any fire, which one was his true home.